Some of y'all are doing some messy shit. Some of y'all are doing some messy shit, okay? We need to stop right now. Stop this shit right now. I'm going to put an end to it. You know, this one especially goes out to the people who are in my circle, okay? You're in my programs. If you're listening to the podcast, if you know who I am, and if you fuck with me, if you learn from me, this is especially for y'all because I want you guys to know better. I expect more of you, okay? And genuinely, no offense to anybody at all, because this is all brand new stuff. Like, we don't naturally have the eye or the experience of being able to recognize our shortcomings in this topic yet. And so I'm happy that you're tuning in here today because I do. And I'm excited to make you aware of like the shit that you're using AI for that we absolutely should not be. And the things that you should be looking out for when you maybe are considering using AI for these things, because shit's getting fucked up and it's getting more and more and more fucked up. It's getting more and more messy in today's day and age. So looking forward to making you aware. Fun fact, Jodie, I don't know if I'm, fun fact, I believe that Jodie feels even more strongly about these things than I do.
I believe that she does. Yes.
Jodie's fucking sick of the AI slop. Okay. She's done
She's
with
over it.
people using AI poorly. Right.
Yeah, she really is. I think it's so interesting too, because it's like you said, we don't know about this stuff because the way that people interact with this content is evolving all the time, right? And I've been saying this for years now because I won't shut up about it, but it's like, I think that, poor use of something creates like a hunger and an appetite for basically the polar opposite because we've had such a flood, right? So, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, like, wouldn't have even been possible to discuss 2 years ago, which is really wild. Even like a year ago, I think things would have been different, but just the way that people are evolving and the way that the technology is evolving and getting worse in a lot of ways and getting better in a lot of ways. Like, it's such an interesting conversation. I feel like we always caveat these with like, this is the right now situation and it could absolutely change or evolve. This particular one, I don't think will. But yeah, it is definitely such an interesting topic because we're seeing it move and change in real time.
I agree. And you know what? What just came to my mind is I think a really big issue is that people trust that the AI knows better than you.
Yes.
Do you think that? I think
Oh,
that a lot
yes.
of people, I mean, of course, right? Like these language models, like they have access to an insane amount of information, right?
Oh,
Which is fine. Like, and I think that's powerful, I think it's powerful and interesting. And like, it has like, it understands classic experiences and like general theory and like proven theory, historical theory, all that stuff, right? Like, so, technically like it has these like, this crazy amount of knowledge, but it's still AI. And I'm even going to go as far as to say, and even with me, no matter who you're talking to, no matter how much knowledge they have, that does not mean that they have the quote unquote right advice for you or like the better answer or the better outcome for you. And I think that people, especially now, and I think it's only going to get worse, are like leaving those devices of like self-editing, self-learning, getting better at doing these things themselves, challenging themselves, taking the risks of putting themselves out there. I think that people are going to lose those skills more and more and more as time goes on. And I think that we should not trust that AI will have a better answer than you will or do things better than you will in a lot of different aspects.
I completely agree. And I think like what's an interesting phenomenon that I'm seeing as well is that a lot of the time people will say like, oh, I've trained my AI to sound like me, right? And I actually see this in a lot of people who sell and teach like a lot of the different, like, using it for everything when it comes to content creation. And an interesting phenomenon that I've seen is that I think people actually just convince themselves that that's what they sound like because they get used to their own voice filtered through a large language model. So it's a very strange kind of, yeah, again, it's like just this evolving thing But one thing I am noticing and conversations I keep seeing is that like people are over a lot of these like really obvious like AI generated things because it essentially takes away the trust in the expertise, right? Like if you are presenting things in a way that looks like it was AI generated, like whether or not it's your own original thoughts and knowledge becomes like less relevant, I think, in a lot of in perception wise.
Yeah, and there's two reasons why. The first reason is Um, the first reason is that there is generally a negative sentiment when it comes to AI right now. I mean, so you have this entire, generation or society of people who already are so sick of the consumption of social media and content, everything like pre-AI. We can all pretty safely can say that we all are like have gotten a little sick of our phones in
Yeah.
one way or another.
Yes.
Would you say that? Like we're sick
100%.
we're sick of the shit, right?
Yeah.
And always consuming this shit. So we already are a sensitive society when it comes to consumption. Then we add this completely non-humane, like very inauthentic overproduction of content into that same funnel, right?
Mhm.
So then people are going to start to resent it and like completely like be sick of getting it, right?
Yep. Well, and one thing I was going to say is like when we go back to the marketing and branding fundamentals, like branding is the art of differentiation, right? And marketing, like we've all, I think at this point, heard the phrase "different is better than better" when it comes to standing out in a marketplace. And we are getting this like homogenization of the way that information is presented, and it's just really flattening out the delivery. So I think you're 100% right.
Yeah. I don't know if I finished my full thought. I said like two reasons. One, people are sick of like the non-human shit, exactly
Yes.
what you're saying as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like the homogeny of it all. And then the second thing is that people are ethically not fucking with AI. That's a huge, huge thing right now, especially younger people, of course. Like people are just like, if this is AI, I don't want anything to do with it. So they're sick of it because of the consumption standpoint and just so sick of getting like their feeds filled with this stuff that they already don't like because it's not of quality.
Right.
But then also simultaneously, from an ethical perspective, they just don't like AI, period, for whatever their moral reasoning is.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that your shit, if you are going to be using AI at all, is either not recognizable as AI or you have the eye to be able to catch that and see that, or we just don't use it at all in certain aspects. One thing I do really want to just touch on quickly, we could have a million episodes. I could talk about AI all fucking day. But one thing I do want to just make you aware of, okay, is we also have to remember that these AI models are trained off of an unbelievable amount of information. Okay, the amount of information that your brain can't even actually conceptualize. Like, you know how they say like you can't conceptualize like the actual size of the universe, like your brain breaks, like your
Yes.
brain like genuinely cannot get there,
Mhm.
right? Same situation with the amount of information that these AIs are trained with, okay? And the thing about that is that it's training off of what has existed in the world up until this point and what is even existing right now. We have to remember that you listening to this podcast, my friend, you are like the 10 fucking percent of the industry. The industry, historically, up until this point, has all been doing shit that does not actually help a real business.
Yeah.
Because people aren't business oriented in this industry. People don't give a shit about their business. They're not approaching their marketing or anything like that from an actual strategic perspective. So when you go and ask ChatGPT to write you a caption that's effective in getting new clients from a hairstylist perspective, it's looking and seeing what are the majority of hairstylists doing and what have they done up until this point when they're posting on social media and writing captions. And it is trash. It's beautiful balayage, sparkle emoji,
Yep.
hashtag blah, 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 hashtag behind the chair, hashtag. It's literally reciting and regurgitating the same shit that every other stylist has ever done up until this point, which has historically not been the thing that I would ever recommend to make actual money as a hairstylist on social media. So if you're leaning into the, like, so you also have to remember too, that the business strategy for you, and you may not realize it because you're in maybe a bubble or a world of like hairstylists actually giving a fuck about their business. But like outside of this, right? Like the business strategy is still rare and it's very specific. And the majority of the industry is not actually using strong business fundamentals. So when you're using AI specifically for this industry, you need to recognize that this AI is not very actually intelligent and educated about our specific situations and what I would normally recommend to you. So like, being honest, I have AI tools that are available to my people to use within my programs. But the value of that is that I'm the one who trained it with my own philosophies, the things that I know are going to work for you, the things that I know it's going to be giving the correct advice, quote unquote. Now, that's grain of salt always. I mean, even then some it's going to make mistakes. Even then some it's going to say some shit that I wouldn't say. So you should always run some shit by a human. Because also we're dealing with humans and your own human input, and humans make mistakes and humans don't still, again, like this is why we're making this episode. Humans don't know how to filter the shit that that you're receiving back. Like you really need to take this stuff that is with a grain of salt. The crazy advanced stuff that I'm using this for.
Yeah.
Where like I truly like the AI knows more than me when it comes to like coding, let's say, right?
Of course, yeah.
Even then some, I notice patterns where it will be so confidently wrong about something. And because I have experience with it, because I have the eye, the knowledge, et cetera, I could be like, no, girl, like that's not fucking right. Like, but if I didn't have that, I would just trust it and it would fuck some shit up, you know?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I've seen that happen like with my own personal use so many times, where I'm like you said, so confidently wrong. So, and I think it's important to underline too, like when we're referencing AI, like the AI, what AI technology has made possible, like in some of the applications that you just mentioned, I think is really, really cool. I think predominantly what we are going to be referencing in this episode in terms of like things you should not use AI for is we're referencing like the publicly available like large language models, right? So like
Yes.
think your Claude or like your ChatGPT, like things like that. Because like there's like AI in general, like the technology has been used in some really cool and different ways. And then there's like these more generalist, I guess, like models that are predominantly being used by the public. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree. I would even go as far as to say, though, that even in the outside of the traditional chatbot models,
Mhm.
even in some of the cooler, more recent like developments, and we're going to be talking about this, the integration of AI into certain things,
Yeah.
into systems that you are already using, even then some. So maybe you guys listened to my hiring episode recently. Okay. I was talking about how to hire people without losing money or whatever. And I was talking about how when you are hiring for a situation in which you are hiring somebody who's better than you at something, you at least having a base understanding of it is so important because you're able to have more productive
Yeah.
conversations and you're able to evaluate whether this person is actually doing a good job for you or not.
Yeah.
Same situation with every single application for AI.
Yeah.
For example, a lot of like the tech that's out there nowadays, which I'm all about, is trying to make their tech more accessible. And so then therefore they're maybe creating chatbots that are within the tech. Okay. So for example, like Jotform and a software I've been, preaching for eons and a lot of my students use, they have this AI chatbot and you could ask it like to edit your automation workflow. And it'll be like, okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it will fuck your shit up. Okay. Like it will like destroy your shit, or it'll say that it can do it and it actually can't. For example, like that's a real example. It literally can't do that.
Yeah.
But you'll ask it to, and because it's AI and because it's just like stupid, it's so dumb, y'all. Like it genuinely is so dumb,
Yeah.
it will like tell you that it's doing it. And if you are not at least a little bit illiterate in your own tech skills, you are not going to be able to understand what's going on. Like, and you are going to go down like a rabbit hole of like digging yourself into a hole that's hard to get out of. And I've already seen that happen. Like I've seen people be like, oh, well, I decided I was going to edit it myself and I had this chatbot to help me. And then you actually like fuck shit up even more to the where you can't even understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, use these tools responsibly. It's like any other tool. Like you need to still, in today's day and age, you need to still have your own strong understanding of the concept. If you actually want to use this tool in any application wisely, efficiently, and well.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I also like another thing that I think is so important to remember is that like if you don't use it, you lose it. And so like when it comes to the skills to do some of this stuff yourself and be able to analyze this stuff yourself, and my prediction, because Sam Altman actually said this, is that these tools are not going to be affordable forever. Like you're not going to have this unlimited access to like chatbot behavior forever. And so like it is going to at some point be metered out. It is at some point going to become a lot more expensive, likely a lot more specialized. And so like retaining the ability to like actually complete and slash or audit these tasks, I think is super important.
Yeah, your own knowledge and your own brain and your own skills, your own experience, your ability to be able to approach these things, whatever it is, the skill, the department, whatever the action, uh, to be able to approach that with at least some sort of comprehension, that will become more rare and more rare and more rare. And the more dependency we have on these things, then the less you'll be able to have that asset, that will actually keep you ahead and safe in with whatever happens. And yes, it is a thing. There is much theory about eventually when the whole world is built on AI and all of us are reliant on AI, the price gets jacked up,
Yeah.
Um, and there's debate of whether that'll actually happen or not, but it is very a viable thing that may happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, not only are we at mercy of price increases or monopolization, all that stuff, but also regulation as well too. I
Yes.
think that, I mean, especially with how much there's an overall sentiment of hating AI right
Yeah.
now. I mean, and as our younger generations get older, they start to make their voice heard. They start to make changes in politics and in the world and actual real life decisions and law. Regulation is only going to be most likely more strict and more strict and more strict unless these massive powerful companies use their money and corruption to be able to hold that off. But I mean when you look at the data and the stats of like 70+% of people have found that like AI is not better for their life or the world than otherwise, and that's really rough. I don't even know where I got that from. I know I saw it somewhere. Don't
Yeah.
listen to me though about that. Like when
Might
you
even
look
be
at that,
higher.
yeah, 100%. And it depends on the context of like what the question you're asking, but like genuinely, like when you see general sentiment being bad and when people start to lose their jobs, possibly, like et cetera, et cetera, eventually these tools are not going to be available in the way that they were.
Yeah.
And I would simultaneously say, low key, I know we're really shitting on AI right now. I think this also means use it while you have it, learn it while you have it, and take advantage of it and build as much as you can while you have it because you're not always going to have it this good. Is also another thing to maybe think about as well too.
I think that like, it does sound like a little bit like we're like, oh, it's so bad. But like genuinely, the things that we're about to get to, I think that it is really, which we need to preamble for 18 minutes. But basically, like I think that the things that we're about to get to, those are definitely the real like ones to be wary of. But there are some super cool use cases, which I think we're going to talk about in future episodes where you can kind of like utilize this to really make strides in your business. But I think because it's so widely available, your instinct and my instinct also is like, just because you can doesn't mean you should with some of the more mainstream types of uses.
Yeah, and as somebody who is very much utilizing a powerful tool, it's just like me and my students have been able to do like really unimaginable things with it. It's been amazing, but
Yeah.
I can't help but the negative things are pointing in my brain because that's just how our brains work. And I especially want to make you guys aware of it because like I see it and it makes me cringe.
Yeah.
And like I want to make sure you guys are aware and ahead. So here's the fucking list of the things we actually decided that we wanted to talk about on this episode before me and Jodie started ranting as per usual.
Yes. Okay. So there's things that you absolutely should not use AI for. And then there's things that you had said, Hunter. And then there's also things to be cautious of. So let's start with the main things that you want to really warn people against utilizing large language model AI tools for.
So every company is trying to figure out, especially tech companies are trying to figure out how to integrate AI into their shit. Very particularly booking systems right now. There's one that's very much top of mind. Um, there's one that's very much top of mind. There's another that has been using AI in really cool ways. I don't think it's smart for me to say what they specifically are. But, booking systems are obviously very like top of mind for you guys. You guys are probably using these booking systems. You're probably seeing how they're using AI. Couple things to think about first off is how, like, if something is backed by AI, if a feature is backed by AI, you think about your lack of control or your control that you're granted. It's great if there are AI features that like will do things and take care of things for you, but at what cost and within what parameters, and what parameters are you able to set versus what does the AI take initiative to do without your consent? So like, I think it's really great to have this type of innovation, such as the AI sends an email when your client hasn't seen you in a while. What if this was a client that you fired and you never want to see again?
Right.
What if it tries to sell your client's product in between appointments and then it all of a sudden offers a product that you don't have or carry anymore? Because you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like when you have the lack of control and AI is taking initiative, I just think that's a little bit nerve wracking for a business owner, particularly if you are unable to see and track what it's actually doing. Right. And I've always been, for the past fucking however long I've been doing this at this point, always been teaching automation in which you are, it as automated as possible, but you have as much control as possible, because there is a best of both worlds, even with the implementation of AI. But a lot of the time, booking systems are just trying to set this up for you and make it easy for you to toggle this thing on. And there's not a lot of oversight from you or say from you in how it actually works. And there's not even from the back end, AI will still make mistakes, even with parameters. Like there's been like tests, plenty of tests where like you can give AI like as many safeguards and guardrails as you want, but there are ways for it to break or misunderstandings that it will have that will work through loopholes to do whatever the fuck it wants to do. So just be wary of that, of AI features that kind of go ahead and do its own thing. Another huge thing, this is like for real, I've seen true examples. I've seen examples of what I just talked about, but this is also a big thing, is like chatbots in in a booking system that have access to all your numbers and your entire schedule and all these things. First off, I'm sure that these booking systems, especially larger ones, I'm sure that they're putting parameters in for this. I have no doubt about it. But also like privacy concerns. It depends on what models they're using. It depends on the guardrails, all this stuff. But like, if you are feeding all of your client data and your own financial data to AI, like you have to think about what that looks like from a legal perspective. And I know a whole lot of y'all do not have any systems in place that are actually legally covering your ass, particularly from a data perspective,
Right.
which BT does, something I very much want to make sure that we're updating when it comes to our lessons in Modern Stylist movement with your forums and things like that. But then, so just be wary about the fact that you're literally feeding this AI, maybe even without your consent, a bunch of data and your client's data, what you as a business may be liable for. Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case anything happens. I'm not no lawyer. Don't sue me. Don't take my word for it, but just thinking about it. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is, first and foremost, whenever people try to interpret their numbers from their booking system, for example, a retention rate. So a booking system will say your retention rate is X, right? Normally, they do not tell you how they got that number.
Right.
You have no idea how they got that number. And 90% of the time, the way that I would calculate your quote unquote retention rate versus the way that the booking system is completely different. And I'm a human being with a lot of more experience than whoever the fuck, whatever software engineer fucking built this fucking system, right? So like, we should, first off, a little quick lesson, never trust what the booking system is telling you when it comes to these certain averages or percentages, because oftentimes, how did it come up with that metric? It's like my definition of what a retention rate how that would be calculated is very different than how whatever else or whoever else would. So take that in consideration. Second thing, same breath, when you ask a chatbot, hey, booking system, how many clients did I see in this circumstance, or how many clients have not come back to see me, or on average, what is my retail, whatever it may be. I have seen it so confidently tell these people the wrong numbers.
Right.
Or like ask like what was my utilization rate? Like how many hours was I available versus when I was booked? The AI may not even actually have the eyes for that. They actually have access to that information, but it'll just come up with the answer and just tell you something so confidently, again, because that's what AI is like likely to do a lot of the time. And I have seen this happen. I've literally seen it happen. So you may be trusting this thing for advice because it has all this information. It's able to see your shit in real time, but it's actually giving you inaccurate information. You don't know how it's getting calculated, and it's terrible at math. It'll get 2 + 2 wrong very often. Okay. It'll tell you it's 5. So be wary.
Yeah. And a lot of these too, like a lot of the tools that are hooked up are also hooked up to like open source AI, right? Like there's some cool like closed models that I think are really interesting that probably like, do a way better job. But when you have chatbots and such that are linked to large models like that, like you said earlier, it's like they're pulling from every single thing that's on the internet. And like there's lots of stuff on the internet that's wrong.
Very much so. And again, going back to the data perspective, like
Yes.
even if like a model or a company tells you that they're not training off of your data, they still absolutely are storing your history of what you've done because they kind of have to from a legal perspective. You've seen like these crazy like AI accidents or tragedies where like an AI induced psychosis will happen. Somebody they will commit violence, whether it be on somebody else or themselves, whatever it may be. That company is liable then for like being like subpoenaed for sharing with the government or whatever, maybe the law, the court, whatever, with like what those conversations were. So like they save your shit, like a lot of them do. So
Yeah.
again, like even if you think that what you're doing with this thing is private, especially when it comes to your client's data, like email, phone number, credit card number, even that stuff. Like again, don't know what the actual guardrails are. And I don't mean to be a conspiracy theorist. Normally, I don't give a fuck about this stuff. Like truly, like normally I'm like, whatever, it'll be fine. That's how I am normally. But I'm just sharing with you, like, a lot of companies have no fucking clue what they're dealing with.
Right.
Like, they genuinely don't. Like, whoever decided to make that AI chat a part of their booking software, they had no clue what the fuck they're talking about or thinking about. There's not nearly enough legal oversight or understanding. Like, they just don't know. So just approach with caution, especially in these early days. Next thing, writing your copy from scratch. If you can't tell what is written by AI and what's not, especially you, girl, no shade. Like right now, if I showed you like 3 examples of captions and you wouldn't be able to tell me which one's AI and which one isn't, you definitely shouldn't be doing this. Okay. Even if you are, I love that you brought up the point, Jodie, that like we'll even convince ourselves subconsciously that this is our voice, when in reality, maybe it just sounds good and we have some confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think that's very possible. And then you're going to put it out there. People are going to detect it's AI very quickly. And it's not your voice. And so it's not brand aligned. It's not aligned with your messaging, your ideal client, et cetera, et cetera. It's not going to be effective for you. So just approach with caution. I say, write your own shit first, maybe have the AI iterate it or polish it up with guidelines, with correct prompting, and with the right eye, etc. Big wine. When we talk about the overall sentiment of AI right now and what I'm seeing on the TikTok, especially being connected to younger generations right now, huge, massive, crazy, trending conversation is businesses using AI for images and posters. I am seeing this so often with even my hairstylist. And I'm like, right now, my friend, this is my time for me to make you aware. Stop fucking doing it. Do I think that there's a place in which we can start to make a carousel or we can make like a little poster or graphic? Do I think that there is possibility for you to use certain tools that will make it look unique, will make it not look like AI? Yes. I don't think they're accessible enough yet to the majority of individuals. I've seen some success, but it's like takes like actual like skill, takes access and understanding where to show up. But you just talking to ChatGPT, telling it to make you an image of this situation, it's gonna look like shit. And it looks like every other person who's making that same poster with ChatGPT. And people are clocking it and saying literally, like I've seen so many TikToks of people being like, just so you know, I love that you're a small business, not trying to shit on you. But if I see that you are a small business that's using an AI or as an AI generated poster, I'm not doing business with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are fully boycotting you, girl. So like, again, I would honestly just stay away from visual use at all, at least at the time of recording this right now. We're not there yet. Where like the majority of people would know how to do this. So like, right? So I would say just fucking rule of thumb, stay away from it for now.
Yes. And I think this will continue to get more important as, like you said, younger people get older. Like, because I think Gen Z are the number one people who are like really not into it at all. And like Gen Alpha are absolutely following that exact same trajectory. Like I've seen it with my son calling it out all the time.
Very much so. Now, last thing that I want you to be cautious of, and we've talked about it before, and I think Lisa Huff brought it to my attention, was she had an experience with one of her people, one of her students, who used AI to respond to a client with a kind of like a rough conversation or a hard conversation that she was having with them. The client was like, "Did you just use AI to respond to me?" And that created a bad review and like a really bad situation, obviously. Again, I think that this is a really clear example of thinking that the AI knows better than you. I think hard conversations and coming up with the right words is traditionally something that's like, we really all want to make sure that is like, and we all kind of believe that there's a right and wrong way of doing things. I think that there's general rule of thumbs that traditionally will work when it comes to effective communication, especially with hard conversations. I mean, those are things I've been teaching for years, and I'm always just been naturally good at, and I'm always come to and asked about, right? Like my very first digital product was a hard conversations ebook. Okay.
Wow.
I don't know if anybody, I called it the Karen Chronicles, and it was literally like an ebook where it's like how to fire the client, how to raise your prices. And it was like scripts for like what you would say. Right. Regardless, like, again, it's like, why does the AI know better than with what to say, especially when it's not a human and you're dealing with an extremely human experience of a hard conversation.
Yeah.
Like that is like very personal. Like that's very no, like it's so intrinsically human that it's like, why are we outsourcing that to this robot, right? And expecting it to go down well. Do I think that we can come up with what we were trying to say ourselves and try to communicate it and maybe run it by AI and be like, hey, am I coming off defensive? And like, is there any way I can make this sound better, like, or nicer, or whatever it may be, or make it so it's more likely for the person to be receptive? I do think there's space for that, but like first off, we need to be very careful about just copying and pasting whatever it writes for you. You need to make sure that it has enough insight to give you a good output. And then also too, you need to make sure that it definitely is not clockable by that it is AI. People should not be able to tell that it's AI if you're even going to use it in client communication at all. And this includes responding to bad reviews, because it's one thing texting somebody back and forth one-to-one private conversation. It's another thing when you look like your AI is fuck all over your public Google My Business page.
Yeah, absolutely.
We ranted enough. I hope this was helpful to you, my friend. Stop using AI for stupid things. That's not even the message. So sorry. The message is take advantage of this tool while it's here. Just be careful with how you're using it. And like, I just hope that you have some human oversight, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason I'm up here even talking about this concept in the first place is because I work so closely with hairstylists. I follow all of you guys on social media, and like I'm able to see it and I make people aware of it when I see it. If you don't have somebody like me in your corner, like it's going to be really hard for you to be self-aware of it if you don't have the eye for it yet. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't really even know what the solution is. I mean, just like use it responsibly, get educated about it, talk to me, and I'll tell you if your shit looks like AI or not. So much love to you. Peace out, Girl Scout. Bye-bye.